Parker Yablon, happy Fortitude in 15 Thursday. It's great to see you, my friend. I'm back like I'd never left with another mustache. New beard style for you. This is all for your stepbrother, Mike Bass. He said I should shave and only have a mustache. So, Mike, this is for you. Happy Thursday, buddy.
Happy Thursday. I think this comes at a great time. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, check us out on YouTube, because if you watched the Super Bowl the other day, there was that commercial where the worm on people's faces, aka their mustache, was flying away, and literally now all I can look at you and see that mustache like having a life of its own and flying away because it doesn't want to be on your face anymore. So I might encourage it. I'm certainly not used to it, and if Mike told you to do the mustache, he should probably do one too.
Join the Mustache Club, Mike. I love it. Well, Parker, we obviously have a lot to talk about today. I think the topic is going to be change. Not only did I change my beard to a mustache, there's been a lot of change this week for me. A lot of ups and downs and ebbs and flows. One specific example would be losing someone really important to me to a different city, and that is Jared Butler getting traded from the Wizards to the Philadelphia 76ers. I actually wrote our newsletter about this, so it'll come out in a bit, but I wanted to talk about that topic of when change is inevitable and it happens to you, how you are going to react, how you're going to adjust, and sometimes the emotions that you have. So it was a rough week for me. I was very sad. Always sucks losing a close friend when they move, but luckily he's as close as humanly possible.
I'm excited for him. I think it's a really cool opportunity, and obviously it's cool to have him in the nation and hear his story and what he's about and the journey that he's been on, and wherever he goes, whether that's in basketball or not. I've always felt like he's got great head on his shoulders and will continue to elevate both his game and his mindset to really make a difference in the world. So I'm pumped that he's in Philly. I think probably a whole new world for him, but very, very cool, and I am excited to see all the amazing stuff that he does. So I know with you lost a friend, at least local to DC. You didn't lose a friend in a hole just because he was in DC did not make him just your friend. No, you guys built a bond together, and so I can imagine that being a little frustrating and sad. At least he's in Philly, not in Sacramento. You could put yourself like,
very true.
You could think of it that way.
It's a glass half full way to look
It's the
at
closest team to DC.
Literally. It's literally the closest team you could have gotten traded to. I think, Parker, you're spot on, right? Like, change sucks sometimes when you get used to something or you really enjoy it, right? Jared has been, a very close and dear friend of mine, and we've gotten really close the past couple of years, and he would come over all the time. And so it's definitely going to be a change. It's going to be hard for me to get used to. But to your point, I'm working on my mindset to try to take some of the negatives that happen to me and just be okay with them and how they ever turn out, right? For Jared, he's chasing his dream, and like unselfishly, you want your friends to chase their dreams and see what they can do and see what they can accomplish. So obviously some mixed feelings, mixed emotions. I'm very excited for him, but change is inevitable, man. And obviously you've gone through a lot of change in your life, and you will continue to have things happen to you that you do not even expect. And so how have you been handling some of the change that has happened to you, and what do you do to try to be positive about it?
Well, first of all, you don't always have to be positive about change. We don't need to create this idea that, something happens in your life and you always have to try to spin it into a positive. Because I think that's not human. That's not real. Change happens. Things happen in our life that we certainly can plan for or not plan for. Most of the time it's stuff we don't plan for. Whether it's as big as someone moving to another city and you're not able to spend as much time with them, if that was routine to your week, or as small as you had a routine meeting that was at 10 a.m., now it's at 9 a.m., right? That changes up your morning. But I always think like if change is difficult for you, you got to let yourself feel what you need to feel. You got to let yourself have the time to yourself to be human rather than just, oh, I'm going to spin it to a positive. Well, no, if it impacts you and it makes you feel a certain way, feel what you need to feel. And then when you're ready, you take a good hard look in the mirror and say, okay, what is the facts? What are the facts right now? What is real? What is not? How do I feel about this situation? And then what can I do that's in my control to now move forward knowing this new information? Because as humans, whether we're 29 years old or we're 16 or we're 66, change, to your point, is inevitable, and we will consistently see change in life because that's just part of being human. But it's how we approach those situations with grace for yourself, but also intention that help you move forward.
Yeah, I think it's spot on, and obviously a good way to handle change. I think one thing that I've been trying to do is, I guess, to just trust a little bit in the universe a little more. Things will work out.
What do you
how
not
they're
trust?
supposed to.
I'm curious, like what do you not trust? You're saying
No,
you
I just
didn't
said-
trust more. Okay, so where
Yeah.
were you at before, and where do you want to be?
I want to have full surrender to the universe and just go with the flow and acknowledge that things are happening to me and I'm just here observing and moving forward. But as a human, we make decisions, right? And our actions have consequences. So I think there's the constant battle between, well, I could have done this, or maybe I should have done this, and that would have prevented X event, instead of just saying, hey, whatever happens, happens. And I think even if you do surrender, you can't fully surrender because you still make decisions at the end of the day. You try to make the best decision for you, but only a rare few select people can truly surrender to all that the universe has. And so it's just something I'm working on, something that I think I've made vast improvements in, and just kind of going with the flow and seeing what is presented to me, how I adjust and how I flow. I mean, I think a great example is when COVID hit, there was a lot of change in the world, and I was able to spin that into what I think was probably the best decision I made for me, which was moving out of New York and into DC, and was able to have a life that was much more sustainable and fulfilling for myself. And that was a change that was scary at the time, but I took that leap. And so that's kind of what I'm focused on, is just helping to make educated decisions, but also trusting that things will work out how they're supposed to.
It's funny that we're actually talking about this because I had a thought this morning around the idea of uncertainty, and that I think we live in a world where we have created mechanisms and programs in our life that help us become more certain of what is going to come, to help us become more trusting in the way the world will work, right? As simple as we have a 7 days a week, and we abide by, a schedule and hours in a day, and we live, we have a lot of rules and regulations to help the world become more certain. And I could say in 2025, probably we're more certain about what our days and our lives are going to look like than ever before. Whereas if you went back even as little as maybe 50 years ago, uncertainty, you didn't know what the weather was going to bring. Maybe you didn't know, what the news was bringing unless you heard it from a friend. Like, the world was very uncertain, and we're becoming more certain. But with that, Sam, as we become more certain, is it making us less adaptive to change? Because change is still inevitable. Uncertainty is still inevitable in everything that we do. We don't know what's to come. But as humans, we've become so used to this way life is supposed to be that when big change happens, I think we're less prepared for it than ever before.
I think it's a very fair point. To me, humans are on this hamster wheel erroneously chasing predictability and steadiness and knowingness of the outcome. And once, if hypothetically, through AI, humans can reach that.
Not by fault, though. Not by fault, I don't think. I think it's for all good intention in some way. It's protecting us.
Sure. But I think that you can take it so far to an extreme of knowing how everything's going to turn out through AI or whatever in the future and technology that it makes then life not worth living. Life is meant to be a choose your own adventure with open-ended opportunities and possibilities and wonders and experiences. And if you are able to predict and know exactly how everything in your life is going to shape out and pan out, when you're going to go on vacation, where your honeymoon is going to be.
Well, I'm saying that we still don't know that. We don't know what the future is going to, like, we don't know what's going to happen. Even though we think we might know. And that's where I think the challenge lies. Is that when change comes, it becomes more difficult.
I would agree. I think humans are trying to not deal with change.
Yeah.
And protect themselves from it. But my point is that that's ironic because
it is ironic.
if we squashed out all change, I think we'd be much less happy than even we are now.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone wants a world of full certainty or a world without change. I think that wouldn't be necessarily good at all.
Yeah.
Like at all. I mean, it's a good deep conversation.
They strive for it a lot.
And to our point, to bring this full circle is the idea of change. Is that changes happen all the time. This past week, Jared, one of Sam's closest friends, got traded to another basketball team, and they had to move, and that was a change. I'm sure in your weekly routine, maybe you guys were getting together every Wednesday night after the game and talking shop or whatever, right?
No,
you didn't plan for it.
I don't see him during the season, but off season, yeah.
There you go. But now off season looks different for Sam, a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm spending more time in Philly.
There you go. A little bit more travel. Back to Philly.
Yeah, back to Philly. Add it to my list. All right, Elevation Nation. Curious what you think about change. As we all grapple with inevitable change that happens in our lives, I challenge all of us to just balance wanting to be in control with going with the flow. Not easy. You got to find the right balance for you. I'm still working on mine. We'll see what happens. Jared Butler, we love you. Good luck on the Sixers. Elevator shout-outs. Can't give one to JB, so I'm going to give one to Elevator 176. Zach Joyner. Congratulations on joining the University of Maryland Smith Alumni Board. Huge honor. Going to make some exciting changes, pun intended, at UMD and our Alumni Association. We can't wait to see what you do.
That's 2 elevators on the Smith School Alumni Board, I'm just saying. Right?
Well, you're next, big boy.
Well, I'm not going to give my shout out to Jared Nozick, but he's another guy on that board who's an elevator. But my shout out today is to our dude, Elevator 143, Brian Dubois. We got caught up with him last week, and he's just a guy who's making happiness happen in the world, whether that's lecturing at UCLA or inspiring people through his workshops and talks. But I'm inspired because Brian is now training for a 100-miler running race. And I am just trying to fathom.
Thank you for the clarification there.
Well, it could have been a 100-miler on bike.
I agree. Well, it could have been in the car.
Could have been in a car. That's definitely not fun. I ran 26.2 miles, and I was like, that was enough for me. I don't need to do any more. I can't imagine doing that 4 times. Almost 4 times over. So, Brian, I can't wait to see you on this journey. I hope you make more content as well around this journey. I want to follow and see you continue to elevate to that 100-mile mark. I have no doubt in my mind that you will be able to do it. You're going to crush it. So, that's my shout out for the week.
All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.